In this video, what I wanted to share with you is how to actually trust the universe and have full faith and trust in yourself even when things go wrong. Because what happens is most of us have trust in the universe when things go easy, but then when things go wrong, we can't still maintain that trust. We can't stay connected to the present moment. Okay, when it comes to trusting yourself, you have to trust yourself even when it gets difficult. Even when you feel like you don't want to trust yourself, and you want to be stuck in your head, that's when you have to have the most trust and the most faith. That's true faith, is when you can actually trust yourself regardless of what is happening on the outside, when you can truly tap into that vibration of what you want to create. Because what most people do is they believe in themselves, and something goes wrong, and then they go back to that old way of survival thinking. They go back to the ego, and then they go back to living in their fear. They allow the fear to control their life, and they go back to that old way of being, and they don't step up into that new version of themselves that they know they can be. So you have to be really careful here, because when it comes to trusting the universe, that means that you trust and you have faith even when things go wrong, and you can still have that level of knowing that you're on the right path, that you know you're doing the right thing, even when the universe on the outside is showing you maybe that that's not the case. Because really what's happening is your old patterns, your survival instincts, and your ego is actually going to come up every single time you step up in life. Some people think that in this awakening process, that eventually you get to a state of no fear, and that there's just no fear. And you can get to a state of no fear. This can happen. You can become so conscious that you realize that fear is imaginary, and that fear is literally a concept in your head. And you can get to that point. But that doesn't mean that when you make that next step in life that may feel uncomfortable sometimes, that the old survival programming is not going to try to kick back in, right? So when I was dropping out of school, I used to do software development a couple months back. I was doing software development, and when I was dropping that program, do you really think that I didn't feel fear come up in my experience? But I knew that fear was just my own programming stopping me from living into my full potential. I just knew it. I knew that fear was blocking me. And so that comes up, or when you're making a crazy investment in yourself, when you're trying to level up, the survival programming is going to try to kick back in. When you're making that next step in life, things are going to kick back in, but then that is when you have to have the most trust. And when I say the most trust, I actually mean that you want to be connected to who you truly are at a deeper level and transcend your little ego. Because your ego is ultimately blocking you from your dreams. And your ego is nothing more than unconsciously being absorbed in your thoughts. And that's creating fear. It's creating worry, it's creating lack, it's creating anxiety. And it's all just in your mind. It's a creation of your mind. There's no lack of anything. There is an abundance of everything in this universe. And there's no lack of money, there's no lack of resources, it's all stored in your mind. When you can connect to who you truly are, you realize that there's always abundance, you're always taken care of, and there's always that trust in the universe. And I know that you experienced that on some level already. Maybe you already feel secure, maybe you already feel that trust, maybe you already feel that guidance that you're on the right path. But then can you maintain that when the survival programming tries to kick in? When your own shadows try to pull you back into the shadow, when your own unconscious programming tries to come up, when you go through a dark night of the soul, so to speak, where your old programming may come back up, are you still going to be able to trust then? That's the serious question. Are you going to be able to trust yourself and create that spaciousness between you and your fear when you don't want to create that spaciousness when that fear comes up? Because what happens is when the fear comes up, we don't want to be present. We don't want to feel spaciousness. We don't want to trust. We don't want to trust in the higher plan that we know is being created for us. We just want to fall back into that fear because it's the ego. The ego likes to stay comfortable. But the question is, can you stay present to the moment, especially when you are triggered to not be present to the moment? Can you do it? Can you stay present to the moment even when you don't want to stay present to the moment? Okay, because that's the serious growth. Most of your growth is actually happening when you become comfortable with the uncomfortable, when you learn how to ease yourself in the uncomfort. That's how you become more conscious. because you're the most conscious when you're a little bit uncomfortable. If you're too comfortable, you become unconscious. You start to go back into your old patterns. And so that's why it's really important to actually develop that consciousness and develop that awareness, because in the awareness, you'll start to naturally want to push yourself into the uncomfort, into the uncertainty of life, and you'll start to develop trust in yourself to go deeper into those uncomfortable situations, because really, that's what life is about. It's about continually stepping up into uncomfort. Things are going to go wrong. Things are not always going to go in the way that your ego planned. But the question is, can you trust and stay present? And to me, trusting and staying present both come together. Because as I stay present to the moment and I connect to the deeper essence of who I am, and I create that spaciousness between me and my ego, that's true presence, because I'm allowing infinite intelligence to guide me, not my little ego. I'm letting my heart guide me. I follow my heart. I follow my true calling, what I'm called to do. And if fear comes along the way, I create spaciousness. I say, wait a second, I don't have to believe in this fear. I don't actually have to believe in that fear. And then I let it go and I continue on my path and continue trusting. So that trust is there even when I have fear of something not working out. I just say, you know what? I have faith. I know that I'm on the right path. I know that the universe is guiding me. I believe that I am being guided to my higher purpose. I trust in the universe to actually guide me on my path, even when it doesn't seem like it on the outside. And that's what you'll start to develop as you go deeper into the present moment of who you are. Because when you're in the ego, things are happening to you. You think that there's lack. You think that everything's happening to you. There's a victim mentality. When you create spaciousness, find out who you really are, connect to the essence of who you are, things are happening for you. Because you know that at a deeper level that the triggers are coming up for you to actually deal with them. And those triggers are learning experiences, and you know that at a deeper level. You understand that the triggers are there to let them go and ascend to a higher level of consciousness. That's what happens. You start to see this. You start to see that you are actually placed here to go higher and higher and higher into your purpose and become more conscious and more conscious. And that means you become more uncomfortable, more uncomfortable, more uncomfortable, but you're becoming comfortable in the uncomfortable. That's true trust. Trusting in yourself, staying present when the triggers come up, when things don't seem like they're going in the way that you want, kind of allowing things to play out and unfold the way that they're supposed to. Not the way that your little ego wants, but the way that, it's supposed to. It's the plan that is made for you. It doesn't mean you don't have free will, but there is a path that you're supposed to follow, and it's supposed to unfold not in the specific way that your ego wants. Your ego always wants something to go out in a specific way, but it's not going to happen in that way. And when it goes in the way that your ego didn't want, are you going to be able to stay in the trust, in the faith? And so to me, this is about staying very present to the moment. That's what trust is to me. Being very present, very conscious, and even when things go wrong, I can take a step back and be like, wait a second, I know this is happening for a reason. I know that this fear, this trigger is coming up so that I can disidentify with it and be like, yep, that's fear. That's not who I am. That's the programming. I let it go. I trust in that process. I stay present. Like when I stay present to the moment and I create spaciousness, that is trust, because that's where you're developing your intuition and developing that part of yourself regardless of the external. When you develop that trust and that faith, then you finally create the life that you want. That's true manifestation, when you can maintain that vibration of being present and abundant even when things go wrong on the outside and everything seems like it's crumbling down on you and it's not going in the way that you want. Can you still stay faithful and trust yourself then? That's the real power. That's the real power. And then you deserve to get what you want. Then the universe rewards you. And it's not even the universe testing you. It's your own ego and your own survival and your own patterns testing you. Okay, so that's the key here. You want to stay present to the moment and you want to trust yourself. And so the one thing I want you to keep in mind is that when it comes to trusting yourself, to me, that means being as present as you possibly can in every single moment. And that always goes back to the present moment. Everything that I talk about on this channel, like there's so many different facets of life. There's so many different things you can work on. You can work on, trusting, like you can work on creating, a business for yourself, or working on your diet, or your social skills, or becoming a leader. Whatever you want to do, It all comes down to awareness and consciousness and being present to the moment. Every single video is actually a different topic, but I'm pointing you to the same thing. And you're gonna have a better time accomplishing these things when you learn how to become more conscious and go on this journey of awakening. Everything in your life will naturally fall into place, because as you become more aware, you develop more trust, because you start naturally letting go of the things that don't work. You know that there's a deeper intelligence guiding you. When you start to become so conscious that you start letting go of these old habits, that's something deeper than your ego. That's pure empty awareness actually giving you the opportunity to let go of your ego. That's deeper intelligence guiding you. That's not your ego. That's you letting go of your ego and allowing that deeper intelligence to guide you on your path. That is true trust. Stop believing in your ego. Your ego is gonna stop you. Your ego is gonna create fear. Your ego is gonna tell you this, your ego is gonna tell you that. Your ego is gonna want you to do this in some specific way. But do you have to believe in your ego is the question. Because you know that there's something deeper working here. Trust in that. Trust in the deeper awareness of who you are. Learn how to connect to that awareness, tap into that, and then use that as your guidance system, because your ego and your feelings are not going to guide you in the right way sometimes. If you have trust in your own feelings and your own ego, and your heart can be a good guidance system, but sometimes your feelings can deceive you. And so you want to tap into that true awareness and let that guide you. That's true intuition, because you can look past the ego, you can look past the feelings, past the deception of your own feelings and your ego, and let that guide you. That's true trust. Even when your ego has survival and, oh my gosh, is it gonna work out for me? And then the survival instinct kicks in. If this is gonna work out, am I worthy enough? I feel inferior. All of that is your limited ego limiting you to your true potential, okay? And if you wanna let go of this, once again, you do this by becoming aware, becoming more conscious, and letting go of the ego. And the way you do this is by using certain tools like meditation to allow yourself to awaken to the truth of who you are. And this is gonna happen naturally, but why let it slow down and wait 2 more lifetimes, 5 more lifetimes, or even 10, 20 years in this lifetime, if you could just start using the tools right now and trust, develop that trust, become more conscious. Start living into your purpose right now. We either live into our vision or we live into our fear. Your ego and unconsciousness is fear. Present moment, connecting deep to the essence of who you are, will always guide you on the right path to your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what word I use. If I use awareness, if I use the observer, if I use consciousness, if I use God, if I use whatever word you want to use, but it's that part of you that you are following, that you want to trust, despite the fear and the programming that may block you, because you know that there's a deeper intelligence blocking, there's a deeper intelligence guiding you. You know this. And so if you actually follow that, if you follow that deeper intelligence, even when the fear comes up, and trust in that, your life will naturally be created in the way that it's supposed to, and it will unfold how it's supposed to, rather than your little ego trying to control everything that's not trusting everything. Allow things to unfold, become more present, follow your higher purpose, and you will see that your dream life is meant to be lived, and the only thing stopping you is your ego. I was gonna say the only thing stopping you is you, but when I say you, I'm not talking about your ego. I'm talking about the deeper essence of you. And your ego is not who you are. So the only thing stopping you is your ego. Okay, that's all I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button if you got some value. Once again, my mindfulness group coaching program is now open. So if you want to be part of the class, hit that link that's in the description box of this video. Have yourself a great day, and see you in the next video.